Hello, and welcome back to another episode for Project Seed Money. My name is Sharissa Bradley, and I am so excited that you are here. On this episode, I have the pleasure and honor of interviewing my friend Tiffany. Tiffany is an editor, an author herself, and does a lot of wonderful things in the writing and publishing community. And I am excited for her to share a little bit more about herself and her process and some exciting things that she has to offer. Please join me in welcoming my dear friend Tiffany.
We are serving one of my favorite groups of women. Favorite groups, period.
Women.
Which is women who need to tell their stories. Like one of my biggest and most important poems that I ever wrote for myself was called Tell Your Story. And one of the things is tell your story. Tell your gritty, grimy, nasty, tell your beautiful, flowing, ethereal story, because our stories hold power. Project, seed, money, there's so like in words to me, because I'm a wordsmith, like project and seed and money, and they all have things and connotations that are good and bad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, watch God work. I get to do the thing that I love for people in real time, and it serves my livelihood.
Yeah. I mean, how it doesn't get any better than this. Truly, truly. When people ask me, like, how are you doing? All of these things. And it's like, because they're so impactful and so powerful and so meaningful that it gives me so much energy that it doesn't feel like it's taking away at all. It just adds.
Exactly. And that's why, even in the questions that you sent me, these are all questions that I basically ask potential clients anyway. Because how important is it to you to really go into that room and tell that story in its entirety, which means you will not come out looking perfect, even if you are the victim. And your healing journey is your own healing journey, and no one else can do it for you. So, as someone who's on multiple sides of multiple healing journeys, there's fearlessness that I claim with my first sip of my morning drink. Like,
I've been through this fire. I've been through that fire. I've been through these fires.
Leave a message, because I'm not here for this fear. Bye. And it's like, you can be upset about it.
Yeah.
Or I choose not. We're so lucky. I mean, all of us who have the ability to share our stories with one another, if you have that ability to hold space for someone, you are a truly blessed person, because you have I call it divine, that divine power to hold eternity for somebody, because you are shifting their eternity by helping them get this major roadblock out of the way. Or you are giving them the choice and letting them see eternity for what it could be. See God and his wondrous wonders. You can be standing on top of that hill in 6 months, but you got to get to these first 3 days. And these first 3 days are hell with fire and salt and acid on the side.
Like literally, yes.
Yeah. As someone who is actively right now dealing with trauma bond recovery, dealing with mourning and re-mourning, and new stresses and old stresses resurfacing because they're at a new level of processing.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound clinical, but the fact remains is every lesson you learn is a previous lesson that you didn't quite get. Babies come and they are less safe. They are completely exposed. They're, even the animals have instincts to let me stay up under my mama. You know what I mean? We don't even have the wherewithal to cover ourselves with a blanket until a blanket is given to us and we realize, oh, that's nice. Let's do that again. Milk is given to us. If we don't know to seek it outside of, I need something. I don't know what it is. I need something. And then as you grow up, that I need something. I don't know what it is, but I need something. And sometimes it's security. And sometimes it's the time to share and the feeling of being heard. And then sometimes you need to move your feelings out of the way because they're actually working against you. And you need to get to the root of the problem, which is you have a very bad habit. Or you need to celebrate this habit that got you where you are. Because I've tried to break the habit of being positive. I've tried. I've been that person. And I couldn't stomach the negativity. I couldn't stomach it. And now I know why. It's because I have the innate ability as me to be this kind of a tree. And if you never noticed, I think I might have said this to you before. You don't hate on trees. You don't hate on the orange tree when it's standing next to an apple tree. You pick your fruit. You know,
Yep.
I'm this kind of a tree. I'm this kind of a fire. I'm this kind of a person. I'm this kind of a spirit, soul inside of this kind of a body, born for such a time as this, unapologetically me, Black, Christian, all the labels you try to give me, whatever. Okay, fine. Unapologetically so. And if your label don't match the label that I have, getting my mouth off of it. And one of the things that I actively take my mouth off of is fear. Just because something makes me afraid doesn't mean that I'm going to walk in fear. And I take that out of my mouth and say no, because I can lean back because I've done this before. Maybe not this exact thing, but I've done it before. And that all the way back to Project Seed Money is how the stories come out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like you're telling me about trust. I feel like you're teaching me about trust. I feel like what this boils down to is I now trust myself. I now trust who I am and how I stand in my power and how my power comes to me even, because that was an overwhelming experience for me to learn that after I had given all my power away to narcissistic abusers and then like started getting that life back for myself. That was also something I was afraid of, like very much afraid of God, very much afraid of love, very much afraid of sitting in that power, that love, that energy, that it was very, very uncomfortable for me. And so now coming back into it, like, I want to sit here with people in that place of like, this is very uncomfortable. I have been in that discomfort. And the other side of it is love, presence, I mean, unconditional protection and safety and feeling like, oh, this is just my human body that I like get to return at some point and go back to this like eternal safety and love. So I feel like what I'm feeling is this message to me is like, just keep the trust. And because I do give into fear a lot. And like, I've been blog clicking this last month. I haven't been able to do anything for Project Seed Money. I've just been like stuck. I lost one of my partners in my publishing business, also was my friend. So now I lost one of my closest friends. Like, and it was all just like bam, bam, bam. Things are crazy. But also like this is the purpose. This is what I'm meant to be here for. And the phrase that keeps coming to me over and over is shame dies when stories are told in safe places. You know, I want to be that place. I want to be that place where like you bring me your shame and tell me the whole thing, the nitty gritty, and we, like watch it die together.
Okay, two things that I want to kind of pull out from what you've said. One, I've already lived my absolute worst day of my life. I've already lived it. I've already lived it. You can't do anything to me because I've already lived that day. And no matter what you do, I've already lived that day. And that day changed me into the person I am now. So that days that are like that, because I've had days that people would say, well, technically this day was worse. And I'm sure hard days are coming. Hard days are here. These things are happening. But I already know that I can survive and thrive after the hardest day of my life. You can't take that from me. Nobody can. Nobody can. Also, when you are in a place where you feel free to tell your story, you cellularly change. And you are no longer the person you were after you tell. You cellularly release and unblock poisons in your body, trauma in your mind and spirit, in emotions when you tell your story. And if you haven't finished, you just haven't finished. If you've started, you've still changed. Like this, it's this beautiful kind of philosophical, we're talking Sartre and McClure and like all these big, names and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, every day you choose. Whether you choose by abdicating, you choose. Whether you choose by being a bully or a fighter, you choose. Let's go back to the trees. Some trees, their job is to block you. That's literally their job.
So
So the fox can live inside it. Like, you can't stand here because the secret of Nim is happening underneath in the roots.
Yeah. The birds have to grow.
Because Watership Down is happening right here. There are, I say as I'm looking out, you can't see it, obviously. I'm looking out of my window and I see pomelo trees. And I lived in my house for a good 5-6 years thinking they were grapefruit. For the people who care, they are not the same. And I hate grapefruit.
So you wouldn't eat them?
Well, I wouldn't go anywhere near these trees. I wouldn't go anywhere near them. Someone who knew what they were, for what they were, and for their true value went and said, oh my gosh, I will pay you for these. And I'm like, okay, give me the money. Okay, fine, whatever. And then they gave me one of the fruits that were in my yard the whole time. And I tasted it and I was like, this tastes like candy.
And yours?
It's like candy. And yes, you can taste a little bit. This is my taste buds, not yours, of the grapefruit on the back end.
Yeah.
But where grapefruit is like 6 of 10,
yeah,
this thing's 1.5. And I got all the sweet and all the juicy and all the citrus and oh, so good. And I'm like, I'm not mad at myself for all the wasted time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, lesson learned, I am not the person who doesn't know what pomelo tastes like. And now, matter of fact, as soon as I get off the phone with you, I might go have some because they're just about to go out of season. So they're like overripe and almost too much. Yep. So again, all the way back to telling your stories. You mentioned sharing personal experience. So we're going to take all that. We're going to make it about, I was pregnant in 2015. Happiest, glowing, ridiculously happy. I was also in the most mortifying, terrifying pain I'd ever been in my life. I tell people it's kind of like someone stabbed me in my core with a rusty dagger and pulled it out slowly and did it again and pulled it out slowly. It was so bad. The doctor put me on Norco, which is a Schedule 2 narcotic, every 4 hours. And when I tell you the pain never went away, and I could feel it rolling off at 3 hours. Fast forward to February 6th, 2015, and I gave birth to my 16-week-old son. He fit in the palm of my hand, and he was the color of a rose, which is another reason why he was kind of, so it's like, and that's another reason why I made the book that color, because it was like these shades. And I thought, that's it. I no more. I'm done. 3 months later, my older brother passed away. But my older brother was in his 40s. So he was also out of the country. So everything that I was processing and dealing with my son and all the possibility and all the mourning, the whole thing kind of got pushed down under the minutia of things that needed to be done. We had to get the certificates. We had to get things translated. We had to get plots, celebration of life, getting his body back in the country. Like all these things needed to be done. And so, and then just the fact that every time I would bring up Moses, everyone who's mourning knows my brother Andrew. And so it became this kind of convoluted mourning thing where I couldn't really process one without processing the other. And that wasn't healthy for me. I didn't know it at the time. That's what was happening. So one night, one of my sleepless nights, I wrote the story down. I had been kind of journaling because that's a tool I use. And I sent it to my girlfriend, the entirety of the story of Moses. And I sent it to her middle of the night via email. And I didn't hear from her for a few days, but I felt a little better because it was like the pressure, like a pressure cooker, the pressure was coming out. I think of it like the mountain was my older brother there was a rock underneath it, and that was the processing of my son. But underneath that was this growing magma lava, and that was my love for them both. A few days later, my girlfriend reaches out to me, and she just cries. She just picks up the phone. She's like, "Hey," cries. And when she did that, I breathed for the first time, and we just sat there in the space. I tried to remember. I don't think we talked much. We just held space for me and her to mourn my son together. And that started the whole thing. It taught me that I couldn't mourn him in a vacuum. I couldn't. Keeping that, it was kind of a secret. Like some secrets are cancer. That was a big lesson I picked up. Some secrets are cancer. Telling them can be the only cure for that cancer. And when you get on the other side of telling your story, you actually become a weapon of mass destruction of those kinds of cancers. Like you become a weapon for good. You can move great weights for good. And that's how I became an editor. Like where I really focused on, you need to tell this particular story. You're talking about over here. I need you to tell about this story. And that's how I published my bestseller. And that's why I'm speaking about why it's important to tell your story and how you should get into publishing in any way, finding an agent, pitching directly to the houses that receive them, publishing on your own or independently or by yourself. There's so many moving parts. I got into it because I survived the worst day of my life. And I feel, and I say this so often, I feel like whenever I talk about my son and my older brother, they're both up in heaven playing the real Halo, like the real Halo. I can only imagine. And it makes me giggle because I'm just like, yes. And one of the poems that I put in the book was the real Halo because I'm like, the funny thing about joy is it's not, I want to say predicated. I don't think that's the right word. It's not subject to the circumstances the way happiness is. And when I told my story, I planted a seed of joy in me. You could never in a million years think infant loss and joy can be in the same room, planet. But for me, by telling my story, I've had beautiful pockets of joy where I can actually truly smile thinking about my brother and my son separately and together because they have their own spaces to mourn. They have gone from dovetail and convolution to, I can think about Moses by himself now. I can think about Andrew by himself now. When my family gets together and we talk about the goofy stuff that my older brother would do, we can laugh and still feel sad. And when we talk about some of the hard parts about those last few days and how horrible it was, there's trauma there. And I'm still processing that. But I can process it because I'm stuck. I was stuck and I got unstuck. And so now I'm like, I can get people unstuck because I know the feeling. And if I can find that feeling for you, I can simply show you the world with it not being there. And then you choose. And that's how, so all these books got published. Some of them I just edited, but quite a few, like you can't see because they're stacked in the back behind these books. But every book that's on here, I have edited or fully published. These top three are mine. This one just came out. These all came out in the last few years. And I am complete. And I get to talk about my son regularly. He has not gone further than the veil. I can give him a high five right now. And I'm good. I'm so good. Don't nobody need to eat this food but me. I like the way I feel. And nobody can take it away from me, even on my worst day. And that's what I want to give to people. And that's what I think Project Seed Money is going to do. And that's why I'm so excited. You know, baby steps, boo. Baby steps.
This is something I need to be reminded of very often. Baby steps. I want to I see it and I'm like, how are we not there yet? How have we not jumped yet? Like, okay, baby steps, baby steps.
One of the things I told my mom was like, Mom, when you've had enough, it's 15 minutes. You can go years, but when you've had enough, it's 15 minutes. And that's how I feel. Like Gerald Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, they wrote their books for years. And it was the Inklings getting together, doing their thing, doing their thing, doing the thing. And then years. Months, weeks, days, it's done. Just like that. Losing hope doesn't do anything, but pretending like it's not daunting is stupid.
I feel that Project Seed Money is really that is the direction it's going. These like
Mm,
events where people are able to stand up and share their life and their story
right.
and feel seen,
Sorry. I'm like,
feel heard. It's
whew,
okay.
we are in this place right now. We are
I
in this
feel
place.
validated. I feel very validated.
I got you. I got you.
Yes.
Because, yeah.
I love
And
it.
yesterday I received the Vision Christian Writers Conference. They sent, I'm speaking so crazy. So love this. That's a whole story in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's one of your questions. Memorable success story. Okay. I met a lady in Kingdom Writers Association maybe once or twice. I complimented her hair, and that was it. I like talking to people. I like making memorable connections. And especially with women of color, we love talking about our hair, child. We love talking about our hair. Let me tell you, especially when we project like, I like what is happening in my career. So years pass, years. And this lady reaches out to me via Facebook Messenger. It's like, Tiffany, you might not remember me, but I have tickets to this conference. And I asked the Lord who to send, and he showed me your face. And I'm like, literally, I was like, shut up. Like, whatever. Like, no way. And so I reached back out to her and we go back and forth. I barely made it in. I didn't do any of the stuff that you could do to prep, like, submit for anything, sign up for mentoring, like any of that. But I got my own room, which was its own like upgrade. Like so cool. So I go up there. And at this point, I'm not even writing. I'm just editing almost exclusively. I throw the odd poem here and there, but I'm not even writing right now. That is not the season I'm in. And so I'm like, okay, you must want me to go up there as an editor. All right, I'll go up there as an editor. Sure. One of the guys' names is something. And even if you've never seen his face, you know the face he makes. When he's like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll follow your plan. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah. Because I've always done that. So I saved up my little coin, flew first class, made myself special. I made a whole I flew first class. I rented a car, like made new amazing friends that I think are going to be lifelong points of contact. Went there as an editor and ended up writing a book.
What?
But instead of publishing through my publishing company, I'm talking to agents. And then I told the director, because I didn't know how things work. So I got lost like on the first or second day about what to do with where to go on for workshops and stuff. And I was like, don't worry, I'll be a keynote speaker here at some point. And I was half joking because I'm also speaking faith into the dreams that I have because I want to be a speaker. That's another prophetic moment in my life. And the last day, she said, people say that to me and they're like, it resonates with me. It's like, man, I hope it happens. I hope it does. She said, but when you say it, I feel a yes. Fast forward on a whim, I was like, I could teach this class. I've taught this class 1,000 times, and this can help people about teaching the parts of a book. And I submitted it, and they accepted it. I was adjunct faculty at the conference that I was sent to, and I'm like, okay, okay. In the midst of everything,
Yeah.
these things remain true. And I'm just like, oh, I'm along for this ride. Got my cute hair, sweaters on, and I'm ready to go, you know? And I feel good about these things because I know that I've made friends. One of the phrases I was using while I was out there was, I love your weird. Love your weird. So that bit of success, it came with work. It came with taking leaps of faith. It came with overcoming my fear of what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if I do the wrong thing? What if? Fine. What if I do a great job? What if I meet my agent? What if they like my book? What if they sign me at the conference? What if this, 6 months from now, a whole different world that I didn't see coming is in front of me? I
Yes.
know I'm on a track to do something to change, if only one person's life. Good on you. If it's Sharissa's life, okay.
You already have like our 1 30-minute call changed the
Oh my
whole
god.
everything for me.
Oh
Like it
my
was
gosh.
such a
Benny and John, girl.
I was
Your
just
best.
I was
Yes.
just driving to the dog groomer. And when I got off the phone with you, I was like, how did my whole life change in a 20-minute call? Like, I mean, God was with us. Like I felt like so like just protected, just surrounded. Like we were together on an alternate universe, like Miss
Right? This
Marvel.
is very Marvel DC. Like we got kind
Yes.
of chill. It was crazy.
Yes. I completely agree. I think that unless you want to just like say anything like last minute, like advice as far as like starting.
Last minute advice is what I said at the beginning. Tell your story. Tell your gritty, grimy, nasty story. Tell your beautiful, flowing, ethereal story because our stories hold power and we hold our stories. Our stories are our voice. They give us voice and we need to share that voice to change the world.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for being on this call. And I'm just really, really grateful we got this opportunity.
Wonderful. All right. Until next time, Boo.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for being with us. And a special thank you to Tiffany for being on this episode. We are so grateful that you took the time to give us a little bit of your insight and your wisdom. And we are very grateful for you. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And you can find all about Tiffany in our content box below, where you can see all of her information as well as links directly to get into contact with her. Thank you again for being here and have a great day.